My name is Robert Pappas, and I live at 553 West Streetsboro Street. That is, of course, on the west side of Hudson. And I'm here to ask council or whoever may have the authority to do so to lower the speed limit to 35 miles an hour all the way to the Boston Heights Hudson boundary. Because in my observation of the traffic that's there, I think it certainly would warrant lowering the speed limit. And I can give you some examples that I've observed more than once. And one is that it seems like that 45 mile an hour speed limit or suggested speed means maybe 55 or 65. The only time I see sensible driving, I don't even have to look anymore, but there's a police car sitting in the driveway of the water plant. And that's when I see some sensible driving. I realize in the profession I had, it's hard to control traffic with radar or lasers because a police officer or a police car trying to pull out in that heavy traffic to go after a violator is probably causing more damage to or danger to traffic than if just to leave them go.
My name is Todd Zedak. I live at 16 Hudson Common. It was thoughtfully conducted, and I still firmly believe that the way in which it was handled was absolutely incorrect. It wasn't fair, it wasn't right, and it was done in a rush in an effort to appease a developer. There's some rationale being proffered now that perhaps the only way to address a limitation of heavy industry zoning was to break that out as a separate piece, which may in fact be logical and right. However, it was not done appropriately, in my opinion, and the opinion of a number of other people. Embarrassment that I felt sitting in this room watching the crazy antics of this board, minus this is the kind of disrespect that is absolutely horrifying. Nicole Kowalski was censured for good reason. And Mr. Sutton suggested that all of you who don't know the reason, or shouldn't, go back and actually look at the evidence, which all of you fought not to do. And the idea that the removal of the censure was being rewritten in real time, it's unbelievable. It was horrifying. And I expect more, and I hope for more.
Anthony Revita, 1746 Edgar Drive. I've been in construction for 45 years, and for the most part, when people talk, it really doesn't mean much. When I was in business, I had 12 salesmen, and basically they said the customer said this, or the salesman said that, and I said, you have to put everything in writing. So in saying that, I want you to know that everything I've given you into those brochures or that literature I gave you is all proof.
Driveway in front of Mr. Foster's property on Walters Road was due to a sinkhole within the right of way. The city does not hold permits for our own work. So you're not going to find a permit for that. It's our own work in our
So I
right.
played that a number of times. And it doesn't get old to me because it's telling you that he lied 8 times in 39 seconds for Mr. Foster. He made the whole story up. There was no sinkhole. I went to the city and pulled all the information. He actually threw in that the engineering department was there. And there was a inspector there the whole time. Those are all lies. Nobody's holding him accountable for this. When you, Mr. Sheridan, know that you will not be held accountable for your blatant disregard for the truth, or Mr. Hannon for his changing and producing and deleting legal files and tampering, those are breaking sunshine laws. And if everybody wants to ignore that, I just don't understand it. These guys are breaking the law. The search for the new city solicitor was an exercise in futility. No qualified, competent legal firms were interviewed or considered. Mr. Bird said they have a tool. I believe they do have a tool, and the tool is in their pocket. This guy will do anything that they tell him to do instead of the law. The law should be, and the law and order should be, the justice should be set at a high degree, not a tool. Mr. Pitchford has become a legal weapon, and he uses that against the citizens of Hudson, which is, to me is an absolute shame. Nicole Kowalski can say that. To me, Pitchford has subverted and weaponized Hudson and gets paid $600,000. I have shown you guys some of this brochure. This is my fencing company. He's a 5-star fencing company. Some of you know him. Some of you know him personally. He put my fence up. He followed the directions of the city. This certificate tells you that he has to follow whatever the paperwork is. So whatever that paperwork is that was approved, he had to follow that by law. It even says it on this permit that you this is the site plan. It was approved. This is the fence that he put up, which was approved. It was sent and approved. This is the inspection report. Mr. Bellis passed it. Now, the only thing against all these different things that were done by the city is Mr. Sheridan's word, and we all know what that's worth. Thank you very much.
I appreciate your ongoing concern regarding District 11, but I'll not sit here and continue to be chastised by you as if I committed a crime. I do not appreciate you threatening this council. This is not the first time you did it, and I've sat here respectfully and listened to your public comments. There's a reason why we were elected to council. We all have differences of opinion, and that is collectively how we came to our decision months ago regarding Moving forward, I just wanted to acknowledge several different significant public safety incidents that occurred during our council recess. As many of you know, that includes the explosion in Twinsburg, the severe weather that impacted our July 3rd celebration, and the police pursuit that ended in Stowe. These are all extremely serious events, and I will continue to keep our residents informed as additional information becomes available through the respective investigations. Although July 3rd did not go how we planned, it was still an amazing event the city put on, and I wanted to thank everyone for that. We're always evaluating how we can do better for these types of events, and I think better communication moving forward will be imperative. That's kind of why I wanted to segue into Mr. Sharon, if you could give us some insight on the tools that we currently have, including the Notify Me and Code Red, and maybe how we can better use those to serve our residents.
Good information first and foremost over speed necessarily. Also maybe consider a Facebook page for police and fire so that if people want to keep up to date specifically on things related to police or fire, that they have that as a resource to go and find those communications. And they also talked a little bit about, we will have a joint council meeting on August 10th that we'll talk a little bit more about later on.
Just to give a synopsis of 91, the speed change there. The city has limited capacity to change speed limits. It's generally that's generally the purview of ODOT. Requires a speed study for us to make a change there. We had attempted to change that speed limit on 91 for some time. The speed studies did not successfully give us that. What we did end up doing with Route 91 was we were able to designate the area as an urban district. That's a different piece of the Ohio Revised Code. Requires certain distances between, I can't recall if it's the parcels or the buildings, but after talking with ODOT and the relevant parties, we did feel that we could designate that an urban district, and so that's what we did there, and that's what allowed us to lower the speed limit to 30. City manager could give me, going forward, some sort of synopsis of the efforts that have been made so far on Route 303 in that position, and I'd love to get back to you on what we may be able to do there. I don't have any further information. I think an option has been provided that could get us to a situation where your fence stays exactly where it is, but you do have to make some concessions. Otherwise, unfortunately, it has to stay in the courts, and I don't really want to comment on that, and that'll be where it is. I want this to end, and we will continue to extend a branch, and I hope you will. Finally, on the fiber, as some of the other council members has mentioned, we had the explosion in Twinsburg Township. The city manager made the decision, and we supported the hold on directional drilling at that time. We had a meeting, Dr. Bird and I, today with city staff on additional specifications we plan on putting in place for all directional drilling, be it velocity broadband, kinetic, or any other work being done in the right-of-ways and easements. We hope to have those changes available for us to the full council on the 11th. Additionally, we are investigating creating a new fiber to the home subcommittee so that we can more rapidly make changes, have information about the fiber project as it goes on for the next, for the coming years. There's very strong possibility that this pause and the ramifications of it will cause some changes to the proposed velocity broadband timeline. As one of my key points of my campaign is velocity is fiber to every home. We will continue to work towards that, and we will continue to communicate as soon as we have more information.
One thing I do want to mention is that this happened in Twinsburg Township, but just south of there is a neighborhood called the Fairways, which is in Hudson, and several of those residents had significant damage to their home and were left with uninhabitable homes. That neighborhood, that HOA came together. The leadership really took charge and helped these residents find housing, make sure that they got all the necessary food and shelter and connections and communications and resources to get their condominiums fixed. So just a shout out to Fairways HOA for really responding well.